Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Renu Tyagi from Sardar Patel Institute of Economic and Social Research. Today we will going to talk about the module Health and Nutrition Education of the paper Human Growth, Development and Nutrition. What is health? As per the WHO standards, the health is a complete physical, mental and social well-being, and it can't be said as a total absence of disease. It's a resource for the life. It's a positive concept, emphasizing the social and the psychological well-being, and as well as the asset for an individual. The basic objectives of this module is to study the relevance and the importance of the health education in our life, and accordingly to study the importance of the nutrition education and how they both are related to each other. We have to study the relationship between the health education and nutrition education. As we have already studied the different stages of life and different nutritional requirement at different stages of life, so the education about those different stages of life and requirements are very important to make an individual healthy. And in order to do that, we'll have to study the relevance of the nutrition and health education, and to examine some nutritional interventions started by the government at the national level, and to make some conclusion on the basis of those. As we know, there are various health issues in front of the India as well as all over the world, in front of all of us. And among all of those, malnutrition is a major health issue which is responsible for many health problems among all of us or majority of us. As per the WHO 2007, and there are 200 million children who are worldwide fails to reach their cognitive and motor skills due to their early poor nutrition, or due to their inadequate health care, or due to the poverty level. The good nutrition is very important for the full development, or especially for the cognitive and the motor skill development of an individual, for an intellectual development, for the behavioral abilities to develop, and for the physical growth and development of a human body. Some of the malnutrition deficiencies, as we all know, depends upon the macronutrients imbalance or due to the micronutrient imbalance. So, especially during the infancy stage, some of the macronutrients deficiencies, especially those of the iron and of the iodine, may result in the irreversible cognitive damage among the infants. Malnutrition adds to these problems and it makes the situation further poor. So malnutrition can create several problems or several health problems which just cannot be reversed, or which results in the further, which hampers the socio-economic development of an individual. Malnutrition, as we know, affects the all organisms or the all groups in a community. However, infant, young children and pregnant women are the special categories which are most vulnerable to the malnutrition due to their high nutritional requirement. A malnourished mother is at a higher risk of giving birth to a low birth weight baby. So, and nourishment or nutritional requirement of a pregnant woman is very important. The low birth weight babies may be predisposed to the growth failure. They can't grow as per their different stages during the infancy, during the early childhood, and they are at the increased risk of morbidity and the early death even. The malnourished girls are at a risk of becoming the malnourished mother, thus contributing to the intergenerational cycle of malnutrition. So that keeps on going from generation to generation. Malnourishment is a very crucial health issue which need to be taken care of in a serious note. So the education level of the mother is the most important factor in determining a child's health, which should be given a due attention. This is a pictorial representation of the toll of malnutrition which is taking all over the world. It's a global burden of the death of children under 5 years by the different causes. It's a recent data which shows that the total deaths among the children due to malnutrition contributes to about 35% of all deaths among those children. However, the rest could be the diarrhea, pneumonia or HIV AIDS or malaria or birth asphyxia or any other causes, but the deaths due to the malnutrition is a significant percentage which can be taken care of, and we should give in special emphasis on tackling the malnutrition. Malnutrition, as we know, is a major public health problem in the developing world, especially in the southern Asia and the sub-Saharan Africa, because in these region population the diet is frequently poor in the macronutrient as well as in the micronutrient or in the both. The deficiency of the macronutrient could result to the protein energy malnutrition, that is PEM, which could be kwashiorkor or marasmus, and the deficiency in the micronutrients could lead to the specific micronutrient deficiencies like anemia, etc. A high prevalence of bacterial and parasitic infections in the developing countries adds significantly to the malnutrition. So, the malnutrition increases one's vulnerability and severity of infection, and it becomes a major cause of diseases and the death in the children of the developing world. So, malnutrition poses serious threat to our children and to the other section of the population. This picture shows the global low birth weight issues in the different nations. It explains that the 5 countries, namely India, Pakistan, Nigeria, Bangladesh and Philippines, accounts for the more than half of global low birth weight burden all over the world. Rest, that is 9.5 million, is responsible for the global low birth weight. This pictorial representation shows the low birth weight and its consequences. The low birth weight can be defined as the weight of a newborn less than 2.5 kg, and if a child is born with the weight of less than 2.5 kg, then the child is under a threat of different health issues. For example, the baby who are born with a low birth weight, if they are not given adequate attention or if they are not given adequate nutrition, they might result into the stunted child. The low birth weight babies have the chances of having the inadequate catch-up growth or inadequate adolescent spurt, which may result in the stunted adolescence as well. And untimely inadequate weaning and frequent infections, inadequate health care and the food could always add to the child to become a stunted child. And such stunted child, if are not given adequate health and food, they might become stunted adolescent, and which might impact their mental capacity. The adult or the adolescent who are stunted, they will become the stunted adult, and the girls who are stunted may become malnourished mothers, and they might again give rise to or give birth to the baby who are low birth weight babies, and such women also may grow into the malnourished elderly. So that cycle goes on and it passes on from generation to generation. So that issue need to be taken care of seriously, and nutritional requirements should be given due attention. The health issues among the adults and the senior citizens are equally important. There are several important health issues. One of the important health issue among the adults as well as among the elderly is the metabolic syndrome, which may occur due to the sedentary life cycle, poor cardiorespiratory fitness, unhealthy diet, and increased overweight and obesity. We all know that obesity is an important risk factor for serious non-communicable disorders such as the diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol level, hardening of the arteries, some form of cancer, strokes, and the heart attacks. More than 250 million people were found to be obese worldwide by the WHO, and obesity once attained in childhood tends to continue in adulthood, and which might pose such health consequences threat to the adults as well. Obesity has very undesired consequences for the women health throughout their life cycle, with the important psychosocial, economic and biological implications. The women face many psychosocial issues, they face many economical issues, as well as there are biological implications that they will be prone to many other health issues being obese. Obesity is associated with the conventional cardiovascular risk factors, that is hypertension, dyslipidemia, and the diabetes mellitus. Obesity has been reported to be the second most preventable cause of death in USA. So that should be given a very important attention, as it can be prevented in the beginning itself. Obesity, as we know, is no more restricted to the elderly or the adults. The obesity is a global epidemic, and it could be seen among the children as well, which could be reported due to their high cholesterol level, type 2 diabetes, which is impaired glucose tolerance, or high blood pressure, or various social problems or poor self-esteem, sleep disturbances, and orthopedic problems could be easily seen in the children nowadays. Now, what is obesity? Obesity is basically the acquiring a weight quite higher than the which is recommended for a particular individual of his or her height and age, and like it's having an imbalanced weight as compared to their height and the age. So obesity is nowadays increasing world over, especially in India also. So an obesity is responsible for many health problems. So that obesity need to be taken care of seriously, because it might lead to the further health complications. And obesity among adults results mainly because of the people or the infants or the childhood obesity. The people who were obese during their childhood tend to become the obese adults. So obesity among children and adolescents is becoming a serious problem all over the world. Obesity is responsible for many health complications which are quite serious nowadays, namely the heart diseases, high blood pressure, sleep apnea, type 2 diabetes, osteoarthritis, physical disability, stroke, and many others. They all are correlated to each other. If one health problems takes place, then it might lead to the another health problems. So obesity is the basically risk factor, or it leads to these particular health problems, which creates a heavy toll on the morbidity pattern of the all over the world. So the education regarding these particular aspects is very important at each and every stages of life, and if we start that education quite earlier in the life, then that makes an impact, and that was going to handle the problems in a much easier and in a much organized manner. This shows the factors which contribute to the obesity occurrence. The important one is the genetic factor, which means that if a person or a father is or mother is an obese individual, they tend to have the obese child. So the obesity might run in the family. Then other factor is the environment, the kind of food, kind of physical activity level, kind of lifestyle we are having. So environment also contribute to the kind of physique we are going to have or kind of body proportions we are going to have in the future. Unhealthy diet adds to the problem. Our sedentary lifestyle, which is increasing day by day, people are less mobile and they try and sit and keep working for hours together. That adds to the obesity occurrence among the children as well as among the elderly. And lack of physical activity is another important contributors to make an individual an obese individual. This pie chart shows the disease profile among the Indians. It shows that the non-communicable disease contributes a very significant proportion to the disease burden among the Indians. The communicable disease contributes 37%. However, rest of it is being contributed by the non-communicable diseases, including the injuries and the others. So, approximately 40% is the contribution of the Indian disease profile due to the communicable diseases, and out of which many of those non-communicable diseases are preventable. As we know, there are various health risk factors. So, in view of those health risk factors, which keeps at an alarming level all over the world as well as at the national level, they make us realize the importance of the health education. So the public health policy need to intervene and need to start on education intervention strategies to combat or to fight with such risk factors. So education about nutrition becomes important. Education about nutrition and the health and related factors, it's very important to manage the health and the associated problems in a very organized way or in a systematic way. Health education has been defined as a combination of the learning experiences designed to facilitate the voluntary actions which are conducive to health or which are favorable to the health. So this is a combination of the health experiences, like the different health issues which can be tackled in an organized manner. Those should be put together and those should be handled in a much organized manner so that they can be we can take care of the different risk factors associated with those health issues, and we can tackle those risk factors and we can work on those risk factors and accordingly handle that particular health problems. Suppose we talk about the obesity, so we'll have to study the different risk factors which are associated with the obesity. So accordingly we'll work on those risk factors when we'll try to reduce and minimize the impact of those factors so that which may not lead to a person to be an obese person. Accordingly, if we'll work on those risk factors, then those health complications or those health issues would not arise or would come at a minimum level or the level which can be handled or which can be taken care of. So, and health education is a very important component to tackle the health of an individual in a very systematically and organized manner. Health education emphasizes the importance of matching the multiple determinants of behavior with multiple learning experiences to create the favorable conditions for the action to be taken. The behavioral measures are undertaken by an individual, group or community to achieve an desired health effect and complete understanding and acceptance. The health education aims at the change of behavior and a multidisciplinary approach is required for understanding of the human behavior. Now let's see the approaches to the health education. The health education has two approaches. It's a direct approach and an indirect approach. The direct approach is called as the persuasion approach, where we give the skills to an individual and we force or we ask that particular individual to do and follow that particular life strategy to be followed or life skill to be followed. So that's a persuasion approach. We persuade an individual to go for a particular strategic way to handle their health. The another approach is the informed decision making approach, which means we give an information, we give a problem solving approach, we give a judgment approach, but we don't force our decision on that particular individual. We leave the choice of decision making to that individual to choose that particular strategies or how to choose that particular strategy. So it's an informed decision making approach where an individual has a choice to select that particular approach or not. So education has traditionally been providing the information and the skills to tackle their health issues. But now it has to be a combination of the two. It has to be the persuasion as well as the informed decision making approach. So that way we can handle the health or the adequate health in a much justified manner. The major objectives of the health education should be to reduce the morbidity and mortality by changing the behavior and belief patterns of the people. Its aim should be to foster the appropriate use of the health services, and it should create an awareness of the various emerging health issues among the people. They need to be make more aware about the emerging health problems so that they can accordingly handle or tackle those problems and take some relevant lifestyle changes in their health patterns. The health education also aims to encourage the personal growth through enhancing the awareness, self-esteem and self-assertion. Now the health education can be formal, non-formal and can be informal. The formal health education is the one which is the regular schooling which follow a particular curriculum and which covers a wide range of the knowledge, skill, values and the attitude. The formal health education may take place in the regular schools or it may take place in the different health setting, for example, the hospitals or the primary health centers. The non-formal education is defined as the one which is structured and which is persistent educational activities that may occur within and outside the educational institutions and may serve the people of each and every age. It may cover the educational programs like the adult literacy programs or the literacy programs at different environmental educational setups. The informal education is defined as the one which is given through the mass media or which is given through the mass publicity campaigns where there is no individual or no personal attention. It's aimed towards the masses and not towards an individual. So these three ways of education are very crucial, and they can give us the health education with a different spectrum and with a different coverage. So each and every sort of health education means are important for us to make people sensitized, to make people aware of the relevance of the education in the field of the health and the nutritional aspect, contributing towards the healthy life or the well-being of an individual. So education is very crucial to make us aware about the kind of food habits, kind of food, kind of related issues which can be taken care of to make ourselves healthier and quite free of the serious illnesses. Let's talk about what is nutrition education. Nutrition education is an important field because it plays an important role in the etiology and management of the many diseases. That is, it tells about the occurrence or the frequency of a particular problem in a particular populations. A significant proportion of the burden of diseases in the present scenario is directly attributable to the kind of nutrition we take. Nutrition is an important foundation for health and the proper development. A better nutrition means a stronger immune system, lesser illnesses, and a better health. Healthier people are stronger, they are more productive, and they are able to create opportunity for gradually breaking the cycle of both poverty and hunger in a much more sustainable way. Better nutrition is a milestone to achieve the better quality of life. For instance, an adequate nutrition during infancy is important for the long-term growth and the health. Some of the nutritional risks for the infant include anemia, jaundice, breastfeeding complications, and some specific medical conditions, etc. As we have already learned that the low birth weight infants are also at increased risk of developing the anemia and other health consequences because of their low neonatal iron stores. Anthropometry plays an important role in assessing the nutritional status of an individual. The various anthropometric indexes, for example, the weight for age, height for age, and weight for height, are used to measure the nutritional status of an individual. For instance, the weight for age assesses the chronic and the acute malnutrition among the people. The height for age assesses the chronic malnutrition, and the weight for height is assessing the acute malnutrition. These measures different nutrition conditions like the underweight, where children experiences body changes resulting from both acute and the chronic malnutrition. It also assesses the nutritional condition like stunting, an indicator of the chronic malnutrition or the past growth failure due to inadequate intake of nutrient over a longer period of time or due to a longer term illness. Some other important anthropometric measurements like the mid-upper arm circumference, low birth weight, body mass index are used to study the nutritional status of individuals. The mid-upper arm circumference help us to assess the severe or the mild to moderate kind of malnutrition. The low birth weight is an indicator of the undernutrition among the newborns and intrauterine growth retardation among the infants. The World Health Organization defines low birth weight as the weight under 2.5 kg at birth, and the different causes of the low birth weight includes the inadequate maternal food intake during pregnancy, or smoking among the mothers, or the short maternal stature, or maternal infections. The body mass index, which is calculated as the ratio of weight upon height in meter square, is calculated to determine the nutritional status of the adult population. The body mass index compares the weight and the height, and it measures the body mass ranging from the underweight to the obese. It helps us to classify the people under the underweight category or the normal weight category or the overweight or obese category. So all these measurements help us to study the different nutritional statuses of the people. So the nutrition education and along with the anthropometry help us to assess the nutritional stages of the people. So far we have studied the importance of nutrition and how the nutritional status can be studied in a population or of an individual. The objectives of the nutrition education is to convey the required information or the fact about the nutrition. It should be aimed to change the unhealthy attitude to the healthy eating practices and teach the positive skills regarding the nutritional goals. These objectives need to be fulfilled in an age-appropriate ways while taking care of the personal and the cultural preferences of the individual. Now we know that education and nutrition have a cyclic relationship. Well-nourished children are better able to reach their academic potentials, and educated children, especially girls, can better understand and act on the information, including the use of the health services, and they can be more empowered to take the decisions like delaying the marriage, delaying first pregnancies, to have longer birth intervals between the babies, and contraception's use. Nutrition education. The nutrition education aims towards the promotion of healthy nutrition, including the choice of food, food preparations, and storage of food. The healthy nutrition is understood differently in the different nations and among the different cultures. A healthy nutrition should be an integral part of the daily life as it contributes to the physiological, mental, physical, and the social well-being of individual. It is the combined effect of food, health, and the care we give. Nutritional well-being is determined by consuming the safe food and a balanced diet that contains the adequate proportions of different nutrients in relation to the bodily requirement. So nutrition education has been shown to have a significant impact in fostering the healthful eating habits. This picture shows the different nutritional programs being run by the Government of India under different ministries. The Ministry of Rural Development runs the Applied Nutrition Program. Similarly, Ministry of Social Welfare runs Integrated Child Development Services Scheme, that is called ICDS, and it has the Balwadi Nutrition Program. It has Special Nutrition Program. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare runs National Nutrition Anemia Prophylaxis Program, National Prophylaxis Programs for prevention of the blindness due to vitamin A deficiency, National Iodine Deficiency Disorder Control Program, and the Ministry of Education runs the midday meal program for the school children. As we have seen that these programs are being run successfully by the Government of India, but there are many issues which are related with these different projects and the programs, and they can be made more effective to have a kind of right nutrition and health education among the children and the adults and the other different sections of the population. For instance, this midday meal program being run by the Government of India has definitely improved the participation and enrollment at the school level, and it has some impact on the health status of the children as well. So the education regarding the adequate nutrition and the right nutrition could be begun in a much more bigger way at the school level to make children more educated, because by educating the children at school level, we can educate their parents indirectly, or we can educate the people who are associated with them, or people who are involved with the school setups, the school staffs, and many other related people. This picture shows the expenditure on the health issues in the different nations. By this picture, we can come to know that India is spending quite less on the health issues as compared to the developed nations like US and UK, which are spending a significant proportion on the public and private sector regarding the health issues. India is about 4.1 is the expenditure on the health issues in the India. Otherwise, if we see the other countries like US and UK, there is a significant proportion, like US is spending almost 17% on the health issues and UK is spending about 10% on the various health issues of its population. Now, as we all know that nutrition is an important component for the educating the people about the different nutritional requirements. So nutrition intervention makes a significant impact, especially at the school level. Nutrition intervention at schools can effectively manage the children's health. They can help the children to improve their learning potentials, and on the other hand, it can help the schools to manage the regular attendance and the participation of the children in the schools. The school settings generally inspire or supports an effective and efficient and equal opportunities to promote the health and the healthy eating among the children. At school, the children generally sit together, they socialize and they have their food. That way they learn different skills and attitudes, and they come to know the different kind of nutrients and the relevance of different kind of foods while they sit together and have their food. That also teaches them in a very effective manner to have or to resist the kind of unhealthy food if they wish to. They can have the social pressure also, of the peer pressure also, that makes them reject the unwanted or the unhealthier food. So the food interventions at school level makes a significant impact on the health education of the children. That's why they come to know and come to learn about the different nutrient requirements or different foods. They can recognize the kind of food which is healthier for them and which is unhealthier for them, and that way they can adapt the healthy food habits among themselves easily. Various intervention programs can be initiated by the government to have a better awareness about the different health issues among Indians. The deworming is a cost-effective intervention to increase the school participation and boost the learning capabilities among the children. The school feeding program, being already run by the Government of India, has been reported to improve the enrollment, attendance, cognition, school achievement and the overall health of the children. The school lunch or the midday meal, coupled with the other programs like deworming, micronutrients, supplements and the fortified food, can make more impact. So ensuring an adequate facilities such as the safe water facility and sanitation facilities, especially which are more girl friendly facilities, can be a quite good initiative in this direction. Such intervention programs at school level are quite effective, as we can say that children connect their learning at the school to the community by bringing the messages home to their families and further promoting the good nutrition and healthy habits in the society. When children receive the skill-based health education, it enables them to make the better choices and adopt the healthier lifestyles. Like India's Integrated Child Development Services is one of the world's largest early childhood development program with the integrated health, nutrition and the preschool education for the children of 3 to 6 years of age. Besides the intervention at the school level, the nutrition intervention can be made at the policy level or service level, or they can be the learning experiences or the other actions implemented by the school, individual or the groups to make the healthy nutrition as a way of their daily life. The nutrition interventions may be integrated into all aspects of school and community life, including the physical and the psycho-social environment, educational opportunities, school or community projects, school health services, health promotion for the school staff, counseling, social support programs, physical exercises, recreation, sports, etc. The health promotion, which is quite different from the health education, or it's slightly overlapping we can say, it means changing the behavior at the multiple level. And Multiple level means it can be done at individual level, at interpersonal level, at community level, at institutional level, or at the public policy level. Individuals can be given more knowledge, attitude, beliefs, and personality. Similarly, at interpersonal level, the family, friends, and peer group can be made more aware about the different health promotion strategies. At the community level, the social networking and the standard norms may be designed to have the adequate health and the nutrition. At the institutional level, like at school level or at the health center level, the rules, policies, and informal structures can be made. The government policies can involve the local policies related to the health practices. These are the different health promotion tools like the mass media, the social marketing, community mobilization, health education, and policy communication, which can be considered as the important health promotion tools, because then they can reach the masses and they can communicate in a much better and effective manner about the health and the better well-being at each and every stages of life. As we have already spoken about the behavioral changes at the multiple level, that is at the individual, family, community, organization, and policy making bodies level. So generating an awareness reduces the malnutrition, or it prevents the communicable diseases like malaria. It helps the children to survive. For example, the breastfeeding should be promoted among the children of 4 to 6 months of age so that they can survive in a much better way, improving the maternal health. The mothers need to be educated about improving the maternal health so that they can have the safe motherhood and they can tackle the emergency obstetric care as well. The families need to be made more aware so they can plan the family planning as a norm, and which could have a worldwide effort or worldwide impact on the health issues. We can combat the HIV and AIDS by following the Uganda program. So these are some of the examples of the behavior changes success which we have seen so far world over. So there is a need to give a careful consideration to the nutritional convergence, and more effective strategies need to be developed, more effective messages need to be given to the children. The kind of messages which are given to the children also should be taken care of. We should try and give them those messages either by the e-learning or by the different mass media measures. We can give them those messages in the local languages, and the messages given to the children, especially to the adolescents and the children, should be quite approachable, should be quite acceptable to the children. They should be given in a way like which conveys the meaning that the children, after following those health measures or the nutritional measures, they can be what they want to become or what they want to look like. So that way the acceptability of our messages to the children is much more. There is a need of the convergence of the different programs. There is a need for the convergence of the sanitation department, health department, which can work in a collaboration to make the impact of the health education and the nutrition education much more or in a much acceptable manner. There is a need to promote the policies for increasing the food productivity, so there are less, we can say, malnutrition in the future generations or in the present generations. So that way we can make the impact of the health education and nutrition education among the masses or among the people. There is a convergence of the nutrition component and the health component and the desired well-being of ourselves. So education, health and nutrition need to be in a collective approach, need to be studied in a collective approach to have a better awareness about the nutrient requirements, the health issues which can be taken care of. So there is a convergence of the nutritional component. So students, let's summarize what we have learned from this particular module. We know that there is an importance of the nutrition education and there is an importance of the health education, and health nutrition are both quite related to each other. So health and nutrition educations are equally important and they need to be given due considerations to make ourselves healthier and more to have a quality life with each and every stage of our life. So besides like making ourselves more aware of the healthy diet and making ourselves aware of the health educations, we need to know like the different suggestive measures to follow to be a knowledgeable or to be a educated citizen. An increasing use of technology, as we know, is quite common in each and every field. Similarly, in the health education and nutrition education, the e-learning can be a great tool. The e-learning approaches can have an impact on the masses. So e-learning approaches should be given due attention. That way we can give the consideration to each and every individual, and it's quite cost effective also, because then it saves our interpersonal counseling cost as well.